Hi everyone, it's Joey Remini from seekingbalance.com.au. I'm a vestibular audiologist and a neuroplasticity educator. And one of the most common conditions I have seen over the years is triple PD or 3PD. So persistent postural perceptual dizziness, triple PD. You can read about it in my Rocksteady book that I've written. So this condition is one of the most tricky and confusing and debilitating, potentially, forms of vertigo or dizziness. And the reason I say that is because it's the most misunderstood. It's almost, mystical, enigmatic. So for this condition, generally speaking, the tests for our ears, our brain, our body come back within normal limits. Yet people are feeling almost persistent, continuous dizziness. So, in order to qualify for this diagnosis, you need to experience dizziness at least 50% of the time. So, most of the time, you are literally feeling some kind of instability. Dizziness can be described in a plethora of ways. Some people will feel internal spinning, rocking, fog, visual distortions, spacey, astronaut, not quite right feelings. Some people feel nausea, feel weakness, lethargy, fatigue, brain fog, confusion. And it's quite natural if you're feeling these things in your body most of the time. So I'm talking about even doing the laundry or dropping the kids off at school or doing the shopping. So really standard daily tasks are accompanied by these inner feelings of instability, imbalance, dizziness. It really is like somatically carrying around uncertainty in your own body. So it makes sense. It's natural that this would co-occur with anxiety because what I feel doesn't match what I think I should feel. And then when I go and talk to doctors about it, they say everything looks normal, everything looks fine, good enough, all the tests are within normal limits. So what can happen is people can end up hearing things along the lines of it's all in your head, or it's psychogenic, or it's psychosomatic. And what I want to say is that it, it it's both. It's in your body. These are real neurons firing. These are physical symptoms. Okay? So you're not imagining it. However, your relationship to your physical sensations, those dizziness signals or vertigo signals, is changing how the body processes them and how the body develops sensory maps, neural maps. So, triple PD is reversible. I've seen many people get through this and recover it and return to normal. So, I think it's important to say that up front. And the key change is that they learn to not be afraid of the dizziness or the vertigo or the not quite right sensations and feelings. They learn to have reverence and awe for their body and to listen to what their body might be telling them. And so when I talk about body wisdom, I'm being quite pragmatic. So at the most simple level, it's like if I feel like I need to go to the toilet, I get those body signals. Something in my body changes that makes me think, oh, I think I better find a toilet. Okay. That's body wisdom. When I feel hungry or thirsty, these are body signals that are giving me information to look for the next meal or to find hydration. Even body signals such as I feel lonely is my body calling me toward finding meaningful connection, friendship, company, right? So we're getting these signals from our body. The question is, if a person has these chronic, persistent, continuous dizzy signals, what is the body calling for? And so instead of being afraid of the signals and developing a relationship out of abnormality, judgment, pathologizing, a very diagnostic perspective is, I don't want to feel this. It shouldn't be there. Get rid of it. That relationship builds us up for one of fear. And there are very specific neurochemicals that are released in the human body when we experience any form of fear. And fear often shows up as fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So, if we think just about triple PD, if we fight ourselves, then we feel the dizzy signal and we get angry at ourselves about it. We fight our experience. And so the inner dialogue might be like, oh, why do I feel this again? I shouldn't feel this. I don't want it to be this way. God, why can't you just be normal? So the inner dialogue and the inner relationship is a fight response, which is a trauma or fear response. The bad news is that is really uncomfortable, and there's a lot of mental, emotional pain that's attached to the physical sensation of dizziness. That's not fun for anyone, and I've experienced that myself, so I understand I have empathy for that. The good news is we can learn how to rebuild that relationship, and we can shift from that fight response into a response of kindness, support, and care toward our physical sensations. So we can feel the dizziness and say, oh, okay, I'm just going to pause and slow down. I'm going to wiggle my toes. I'm going to ground, center, and find steadiness. I'm going to cultivate a moment to connect to myself. Body, I'm listening. What do you need? So that's an example of shifting from a fear response into a loving, compassion, kindness, support response. And they have different neurochemical associations. The fear response leads to the stress, corticosteroids, and fear chemicals, stress chemicals. And then a loving kindness response is more likely to provoke oxytocin, serotonin, opioids, endorphins, and the sort of quote unquote love drug response because we're directing that love inward toward our own experience. So, coming back to the common fear responses, not everybody will fight their symptoms. Some people will go into flight. Now, when we go into flight, what happens is we feel the dizzy sensations and then we check out. We go eat food, we drink, we medicate, we might take recreational drugs or pharmaceutical drugs, we might call a friend, we do anything to avoid, ignore, distract. We're out of there, we're flighting, we're turning our attention away from the body and toward anything else. So literally, we'll just open the fridge door and eat as a distraction. So that's a kind of very classic flight style response. That can also lead to some dissociation and numbness. But that really brings us towards freeze. I spoke about the freeze response recently in one of our Rocksteady community monthly group calls because I think it's important we understand the freeze response. The freeze response is when we mimic playing dead, and it's a survival strategy. And we commonly refer to animals that might be chased by a lion, like a predator. If they drop dead and play dead, then it's possible the predator will run past them and think that they're not fresh kill or fresh meat. So that's kind of, if you think about it from our ancestry or evolution, that could be why we enter freeze states. But what a freeze state looks like or means is that when the dizzy signal comes, almost instantaneously, we check out from our body. There's a disconnection or we lose the capacity to really feel in our body. So it's almost like someone could poke you or say, "Hey, how you going today?" And you'd sort of be like, "I don't know. I don't know how I am." Or if someone pokes you, you're sort of like, "I don't really feel it." It's like there's no sensitivity. The connection to the body is very, very, very much turned down or muted. And so, what that means is if we're in a freeze state, we can't advocate for ourselves. We can't listen to the wisdom of the body. We can't access all of that information that's flowing through our body that helps us navigate the world and be connected to the world. It's harder to enjoy the sound of the rain falling or feel the breeze on our cheeks or to connect to a loved one and fall into a loving embrace and just stay there and be held. It's like when we're in a freeze state, it's hard to connect to ourselves and therefore hard to connect to anything else. So it's very isolating and very confusing. And when I enter these freeze states, confusion is really the emotion that happens for me. Um, Now, freeze states can lead to fawn, and fawn is people pleasing. So if I'm in a freeze state and then someone says, "Oh, how you doing, Joey?" and "What are you up to?" or "What are you into?" Because in that moment I'm disconnected to myself. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need, and I can't really speak up for myself because I'm in a moment of disconnection. And so, what my response might be is I might be cheerful and smile, and I will people please them. I will say what I think they want or what they need because I don't have any internal information to draw upon. So, I will start to look at the world around me and see what everybody else wants or needs, and that will become my reference point. So, I'm disconnected to myself. And then I'm incidentally, as a survival mechanism, starting to please other people. Now, that's okay in a pinch, but if you are living your life day in, day out, pleasing other people and disconnected to your inner experience, it's likely that you will become, you know, quite sad or depressed, potentially anxious because you're living in such uncertainty and confusion, and it's hard to language what is going on, what am I feeling, where am I, who am I, and what do I need, right? There's just a lot of unknown. So it can lead to isolation, anxiety, depression, and so on. So it's all reversible, and this is why so much of my work comes back to the body scan because we need to redevelop and reconnect connection to our body sensation in a safe way where we can keep our attention consciously and bravely connected into our body sensations because it's through that baby step process. It's like a gentle introduction back into feeling the body that we begin to re-access our words, our language, our clarity. Our body wisdom comes back to us. So again, coming back to really simple, pragmatic examples. If you've been in a chronic freeze state, which is possible, if you have this dizzy sensation through triple PD almost continuously, and if that dizzy signal puts you into a freeze state, then it's possible that you actually don't even know when you're hungry because you're so disconnected to those natural body signals. The body is living on the edge of a freeze state. So we need to slowly and gently awaken that connection to your body. And I encourage my clients to do this through their 8 senses. So learning to smell and taste and touch and listen to music. And so it's really about coming back into pleasure and sensuality in slow, steady, and safe ways. And through doing this, we rebuild new neural pathways. We help to access steadiness so that we can experience the dizzy signals and cultivate steady signals to help meet the difficult parts without running away or avoiding. So we have to keep our conscious awareness on the difficult, dark emotions and body sensations in order to build new neural pathways. It's a very tender, gentle, and beautiful process, and it's pretty deep work as well. The somatic work is pretty deep work. So, triple PD, so much of what we're looking for is how to bring loving attention, loving kindness, support, and awareness and curiosity toward what we're feeling, to learn how to hold, nourish, and nurture ourselves through very deep, dark, and difficult experiences so that our body can interrupt those fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses and generate more of those love drug chemicals. And it's in that transition of interrupting the fear and cultivating more of that love drug neural response that the magic happens. And this is where neuroplasticity kicks in. And I see people saying, Joey, I can't believe it. It's like a miracle. My triple PD has resolved. So this is what we're seeing when people learn to stay present with their body, to turn inwards with loving kindness, and to stay through the hard stuff. The body actually sorts out its own neural pathways and it resolves any unresolved neural signals. And as a bonus, you might actually discover quite a lot of self-insight and body wisdom along the way. So my question for you, if you're listening, if you have triple PDs, I wonder what wisdom your body is holding, and I wonder what the message might be that you are learning as you turn your gaze inwards and come closer into that self-connection. To learn more about this process, visit seekingbalance.com.au. I have a very supportive Rocksteady community. I have a Rocksteady book, and the Rocksteady online program is comprehensive. And I highly recommend that you take a look if you are interested in learning about how you can rewire your body and come home to yourself. So it's a bye for now.